Taking a break from YouTube is probably the scariest thing a YouTuber can do. And I did it for an entire month in May, and nobody even noticed. You see, last summer, my friends and I, yes, I have friends that I don't pay for, we're talking about going on a big trip to somewhere we've never been. Most of the time when friends talk about trips, it never makes it out of the group chat. But our plan was to backpack for an entire month to a bunch of different countries in Europe. Keywords backpack, which means all of my shirts, pants, socks, and underwear for the entire month can only fit into this, which is bad. But the worst part of it all was that I couldn't pack my gaming setup with me, which means I couldn't make any new videos for you guys for 1 month. You guys know me as the dude who uploads every single Friday, so this was scary for me. I just couldn't allow myself to take another month off this year. The only solution I had was to plan, record, edit, and prepare 4 full videos before I left on my big trip. So the months leading up to May, I absolutely grinded videos, working every single day for 2 months straight until I was prepared. Keep in mind, I still had to upload every Friday while I was preparing these separate future videos. I basically had no life just so I can upload while I'm gone. Once May came around, we started day 1 with a 9-hour flight from Canada all the way to Portugal. During the flight, I felt relieved that I could finally relax for 1 month and not think about YouTube. That was when I realized I forgot one very important thing for one of my videos: a thumbnail. So I had to make a thumbnail in a public library, and a fan actually recognized me, seeing my face for the first time ever. He's probably blind now, but I'll get to that story later. Once we landed in Ponta Delgada, the first thing we did was rent a car, and all of my friends voted for me to pay for it. All right, pick on the Minecraft YouTuber day, I guess. So I had to put down a $1,000 security deposit and was told I'd get my money back in 2 weeks. That was back in May. It's almost August now, so that was cool. Great start. I had $1,000. Once we started driving, for some reason, it felt like we were in a simulation. Everything just didn't feel real. It was so different from Canada. Also, Ponta Delgada reminded me of the weather in Minecraft. It would suddenly start pouring rain, and then 30 seconds later, once you walk outside of the chunk, it would be bright and sunny again. After some driving, we ran into this beautiful view of this small town on top of a mountain. And instead of enjoying the view, we started climbing a big metal thing. And yes, I make monkey noises too in real life. I know, I'm weird. It was also a pretty windy day, so I almost lost my GoPro down this mountain. And throughout this entire trip, I really beat up my GoPro. Just watch and see, it's pretty bad. We also stumbled into this beautiful lake, and this was our reaction. Yeah! Jeez, where did it come from, my God. We also ran into some ducks, some horses, and a ton of cows. If only I had my looting 3 sword on me. We then drove down to the coast, and it was beautiful. When I was exploring, I thought to myself, if only there was mods in Minecraft that made the water and waves look this real. Man, even when I'm outside, I still think about the craft. What is wrong with me? But it was pretty scary because if I tripped and fell into this water, I'd instantly die. The cliffs were pretty high up, and the waves down there were crazy. You know what's even crazier? Attempting to fish in these waters. Look at this guy. He had like a brand new long schlong enchantment on his fishing rod.
Oh my God, look at that thing. Where does he put that in his car? Does he just walk with it?
And he actually caught some fish right in front of us. I was laughing at him thinking it was impossible. Now I'm the joke. Well, I've always been. But anyways, we also threw a few rocks down the cliff, boys being boys. We then noticed there was a random fence just placed down, and my friend made a Minecraft joke.
I forgot to pick up his block. Bro placed down 1 fence.
We also found this natural hot spring. It wasn't hot at all. The waves were pretty bad. There were jellyfish swimming towards us, and a big pile of doo-doo just in the middle of the hot spring. I don't know about you guys, but it sounded pretty worth it. Before we go to the next city, the funniest thing that happened was actually in our hostel. My friend and I stayed in a room with 2 random people. One of them was an Australian dude named Monte. So one night we got home early and our room was empty. So after I got out of the shower, I was just changing in the middle of the room because my friend was in the bathroom. I jokingly said to him, imagine if Monte walks in right now. You would not believe what happened next. I suddenly see the door handle jiggle and I just froze. The room door opened and Monte walked in. We instantly locked eyes. I was completely butt naked and we both didn't know what to say. The silence was so long I didn't know if it was awkward or just love at first sight. But there's that. The next city we went to was also in Portugal. We took a flight to Lisbon. Once we got there, we had to wait 4 hours until we could check into our next hostel. So we went to McDonald's. Even when we're halfway across the world, we still go to McDonald's. The city of Lisbon is beautiful though, especially when I'm not carrying my 30-pound bag bag on my back because I made my friend do it. Once we got to our $30 hostel, our first impression was kind of odd. First, we had like 12 people to one very small room, and it was pretty gross. My bed was like right beside this wall that was covered in black mold. We also had to share 3 showers with like 40 different people, so I'd see like the nastiest things on the floor. But the weirdest part was when we first walked into our room, there was this grown dude that was like 6'4", just curled up in his bed, crying his eyes out. It was so awkward. We didn't know what to do. We tried comforting him, but he didn't speak any English, so we're just making like weird hand gestures and fist bumping each other. Yeah. Anyways, the nightlife in Lisbon was amazing. People in Europe really party hard. Every night, it was another one of my friends who was throwing up. Honestly, it made living in that hostel a lot easier. We also went to the beach, and it was beautiful. Didn't go on many vacations growing up, so I was very excited to spend some time in the sand. Literally, my friend buried me so deep that the weight of the sand was hurting my ribs, and I couldn't breathe very well. Going into the ocean was also very fun until I threw my GoPro at my friend. He missed the catch, and we thought we lost my GoPro in the ocean. Eventually, we found it, but then we went to eat dinner at this restaurant right in front of the beach, and it was such a vibe. Speaking about vibes, look at these surfers catching waves while the sun was setting. If only I was that cool. Instead, I play Minecraft inside all day. I'm just kidding. That's pretty cool. We also played beach volleyball for like 4 hours in the sun. I swear we almost got heat stroke. After that, I had a ton of sand in my pants. It wasn't comfortable at all. It was in every little crack and wrinkle. We also saw this cool castle that I could totally build in Minecraft. All I needed some yellow and red terracotta, which was almost the same vibe as our next stop in the city of Nice, France. That was weird. But yeah, once we got to Nice, we finally had time to wash our clothes. I only packed like 6 shirts, 2 pants, and like 6 underwear for the entire month trip, so this was very needed. We all smelled like garbage, which honestly isn't that new to me. We then walked over to the beach, and instead of sand, it was a pebble beach. And you know us boys, once we see some rocks next to some water, we have to try to skip it. We skipped so many rocks that the sun set and it got dark. During our time in France, we also went to Monte Carlo. I think that's how you say it. The richest country in the world. Thanks to me. We also saw the F1 track. That was pretty cool. And I got to visit all of my multi-bazillion-dollar yachts. Yup, all of them are mine. We also jumped off a cliff in the ocean. This was my first ever time doing it, so I was pretty scared. Not of the jump. I was more scared of the swim because I don't know how to swim. I took swimming lessons as a kid, but I was so young, I totally forgot how to do it. After cliff jumping, we started acting very stupid. Like, look at what we're doing here. If one of us slipped, we would have fell right into the ocean fully closed. But that was the fun part. As we moved further into our vacation, though, our hostels got worse and worse. This hostel in France was so ratchet that there was mold on our sinks and our shower. It was so bad, I didn't even shower in France for 3 days. But on the bright side, we met some amazing people. And my favorite memory from Nice was when a girl that we met would just dance in the rain with not a care at all. For some reason, it just made me so happy. I don't know why, but rain in France just felt like something out of a movie. Our next country was Italy. We took a bus to Genoa, which was some random port city. I don't really know why we stayed here, but YOLO swag, and it kind of shortened our time at our next place in Italy, which was a terrible mistake. But all we did here was walk around, eat some pizza, and we golfed. And while we were golfing, we actually experienced the most random wild weather. It was straight out of a video game. It was raining, sunny, cloudy, warm, all at the same time, with a triple rainbow off in the distance. Also, this hostel we stayed at was a huge upgrade from our last. I could finally shower after not showering for 4 days straight. I literally smelled like cream cheese. The hostel also provided free pasta in the kitchen, and my friend decided to pack himself food in a bag. It looked so gross. After spending 1 night in Genoa, we bussed over to the real destination, which was Lake Como. Since we wasted 1 night in Genoa, we had to jam-pack all of our activities into 1 day. So we rented some mopeds, and it didn't go so well. Yup, he crashed right in front of us and the owners.
Oh my god.
And if that wasn't awkward enough, we instead rented a car from the same owners that we just crashed the bike with. It was so awkward. Once we drove over to this old bridge that we wanted to jump off of in Lake Como, my friend really had to take a dump. So he ran off to find a place, and there was nothing around, so he said he was prepared to take a dump in a bush. About 5 minutes later, my friend and I had no idea where he went, so we were just standing around waiting for him. And this is when things got crazy. Suddenly, we hear footsteps coming from behind us, and someone everyone panicking, saying, guys, guys. So my friend and I turned around, and it was my friend who just took a dump. He literally came out of nowhere and he said, yo, I just dropped a bomb in some dude's house. First of all, that already shocked us that he entered some dude's house, but it gets even crazier. He then goes, they have a Lamborghini and a Ferrari in their garage. So we were like, no way, we want to see. So we run up their driveway and walk into their garage. Their house was so big, we didn't even realize we were on somebody's property. So we were definitely breaking the law. But there it was, the Lamborghini and the Ferrari. I was fast enough to take one photo, but suddenly we hear a woman screaming. We didn't think much of it, and we jokingly said, yo, imagine if the garage door starts closing right now. We paused, then we realized the woman was screaming at us. So we sprinted out as fast as we could, and suddenly the garage door started closing. It felt like we were in a movie. I've never ran so fast in my life trying to avoid the police. Anyways, we finally got down to the bridge, just laughing our asses off on what just happened, and eventually we jumped into the water, and the water was freezing. It basically shocked my entire brain, if I even have one. I still didn't know how to swim, surprisingly, so I actually thought I was gonna drown. I was panicking, but it was fun. While we were jumping in, there was also this boat that was watching us, and they said if we jumped in again, they would give us a free bottle of wine. But we don't take handouts like that. Like, we would never take a free offer of wine. Like, why would we ever do that? After that, we drove around the lake and saw some pretty beautiful places, ate some more pizza, and instead of enjoying this beautiful view, us apes decided to do this. We are actually monkeys. And what makes it even worse is that there was like a wedding photo shoot happening right behind us, and we were just disturbing the peace. Oh my god, what is wrong with us? But if you thought Lake Como was beautiful, look at this next place. It's literally the most unreal place ever. We took a 6-hour train all the way to Switzerland, Lauterburn. Honestly, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but look how breathtaking this place looks. It's not even real. This place is out of a movie. I just can't say it enough. We walked down the valley and there was like so many waterfalls, cool things, and just cows. Like, look at them.
Hey, buddy. Come here, boy. Yummy, yummy.
Whoa.
Why can't cows in Minecraft eat grass? Like, it would be so easy. Why do cows need to eat wheat in Minecraft? Anyways, instead of staying in a cheap hostel, I decided to treat my friends and pay for a nice Airbnb. With all of that Minecraft YouTuber money, yeah. It isn't a lot. But just enough so we can finally have a relaxing place to stay. Turns out the first night wasn't so relaxing. There was this radiator block in the bathroom, and for some reason, my friend decided to see what was behind it and completely tore it off of the wall. Water was pouring everywhere and we couldn't get it to stop. We tried getting help, but it was too late in the night and we were literally getting flooded. There was nothing we could have done. I did, however, come up with this random contraption though to stop the flow while we slept. But by the time we woke up, the entire living room was underwater. It was a mess. The owner wasn't happy at all. But anyways, we had a ton of fun in Switzerland. We played in the park like kids.
Stop.
Pretended to play basketball because we didn't have a ball. Mini golfed. It got pretty competitive.
Oh, he making it. Yeah.
And played tennis with this freaking unreal view of the mountains. One of the days we rented out bikes to bike to the top of the mountain. And at first my friends wanted to rent regular bikes and not e-bikes. The renter said it would basically be impossible to ride up with normal bikes. And he was totally right. We had electric bikes and it was still a pain to get to the top. I couldn't even breathe. It was like 40 minutes straight uphill. Holy balls.
We're up on the mountain. It was like a 30-minute bike ride. My heart's beating at 173. We are really high up. Holy cow. Where's my elytra, man? This is really tiring.
Whew. Activities like this just isn't for me. I'm gonna stick to my room and play Minecraft all day on my gaming chair. But once we got to the top, the view was amazing. What was even more amazing though was how crazy these Switzerlanders are. Like, there were still towns and houses all the way up at the top of these mountains. Like, bro, how do they even get food up here?
I want to know who decided to build his house up there, because that is messed up. Friends, family, food, not for me. I'm gonna live in the mountains. It'll take me 6 hours to hike back up and down to get groceries.
Before cars and trains, I want to know who was the dude who was on the ground and looked at the very top of the mountain and said to himself, yup, I'm gonna build my house up there. Like, what? These Switzerlanders are literally playing Minecraft IRL, like building their house on top of a mountain. They are crazy. We also took a 1-hour train through a giant mountain to get to the top of Europe, as they called it. It's supposedly the highest point you can get in all of Europe. Europe. It was a pretty cool view. Anyways, the transportation in Switzerland is just immaculate. I don't think I've ever said that word before, but like the cable cars, the train rides across the valley, like holy nutsack. It just doesn't feel real. But don't you ever think we didn't throw rocks in Switzerland too though. When we were on this bridge, I saw this like rock stack at the bottom of this river, and I had the great idea to try to knock it over by throwing rocks at it. So all of us tried for hours upon hours and hours, and we couldn't get it. It was a sad day. But also, here's my friend carrying all of our bags for no reason again. He's just real life Hulk. I don't know what to say. Oh my god, this is a lot of storytelling. If you guys are still listening to this, you guys are true Cookie Army fans. But the next place was the total opposite of Switzerland. We went back to Italy and went to Milan for a day. And to be honest, we didn't do much here. We walked around, saw a few cool buildings and a ton of shops, a lot of pigeons, and yeah, that was basically it. The most exciting thing we did in Milan was go to a McDonald's, and I had the best, most tastiest burger ever. There was nice crispy bacon, melted cheese. Oh my god, it was so good. I told my friends that it was the top 3 burgers I've ever had in my life, and they still laugh at me till this day. Oh, and this is where the fan actually recognized me. I was in the library playing Minecraft, just getting shots for a thumbnail, and somebody recognized my skin. And that was the first ever fan interaction I've ever had. That fan has probably unsubscribed to me ever since he saw my face. Our next stop was our last new country in Zadar, Croatia. Our flight got delayed and our hostel closed before we even got on the plane to Zadar. So we were scared we had to sleep on the street for the night. But luckily when we got there, a girl named Hannah was just sitting outside like our guardian angel, just ready to let us in. Before we slept, we were starving, so we walked down this creepy looking alley to grab some food at this super local place, and it was pretty good. Pretty good for my friends. I couldn't even taste my food. I was so sick and coughing so much I couldn't even enjoy it. Anyways, when we finally went to bed in our hostel, there's about 15 other people in this small room, and it was so hot. We quietly tried turning on the AC in the dark, and once we got it to work, we felt so relieved. But immediately when the AC turned on, a girl woke up and complained that the cold air was hurting her throat and asked for us to turn it off. So everybody had to suffer because of her. I was literally drowning in sweat as I slept. It was the worst sleep ever, but luckily I did wake up. So the next morning we needed to head to a city named Split, and we had no way to get there. Coincidentally, Hannah was also heading there, and she had a rental car, so she offered to drive the 4 of us over there. Along the way, we stopped at a few beaches, threw some rocks as usual, and the water was just beautiful. This place is amazing. Split was our final hostel that we were sharing a room with other people, and we thought this would be the worst way to end our trip, because in our room we had 22 people in it. 22 people in one room. That is crazy. We literally thought we were gonna be living in a prison, but shockingly it surprised us, because this was our favorite, most memorable city and hostel of our entire trip, which is crazy because there was like 44 people sharing 2 toilets and 3 showers. Anyways, do you guys remember these 3 people that we met in France? Well, we became so good friends with them, they actually came to Split to hang out with us, and we had so much fun. We played a ton of volleyball at the beach, and we also jumped off a few rocks into the ocean. This beach was amazing, but there's this one very tall spot that was at least 20 feet high that a few people were jumping off of. We've been told it was very dangerous by locals because there's like these 2 giant rocks at the bottom of the water that when you stand on it, you're literally knee high. And when you jump off this giant cliff, you have to split right in between these 2 giant boulders, and if you miss the water and land on it, you're basically gonna die. So a few of my friends went up there, 2 of them jumped and 2 didn't. They bailed. I had no intention in jumping at all. I didn't even want to climb to the top. It was so high. But after a bit, I went up to check out the view, and my friend and I were gonna pretend that I was gonna jump in. One thing led to another, and I suddenly had a giant crowd waiting for me to jump in.
Look at these dudes. You gotta jump then too. Why are you gonna jump?
I gotta film. I gotta hold the camera.
Yup, I got peer pressured. When I jumped, it felt like I was falling for like a whole minute. And to be honest, the swim back was even scarier than the jump. But once I finally got to the ground and was safe, I felt amazing. Honestly, it was probably the dumbest thing I could have done. But while we were walking back to grab some food, I realized I didn't have my watch on my wrist anymore. I checked all of my bags and realized when I jumped, the impact was so hard my watch came off and fell into the ocean. That was kind of sad. But where's a better place to lose it than in Croatia? Am I right? That watch was like $700. Now I'm down a total of $1,700 for the entire trip. But anyways, we got a ton of ice cream and partied a lot in Croatia. Let's just say we got kind of reckless.
Bro, this guy doesn't care about his belongings. Today he lost the Apple Watch, throws a Hail Mary with his GoPro.
And finally, on our last night after the beach club, my friend and I had the crazy idea to jump into the ocean at 3 a.m. in the morning. We didn't have any swim gear, so we got down in our underwear and just went. It was so memorable. We got soaked, all our clothes were wet, and there was sand everywhere. But it was so worth it. And it turns out that same beach that we jumped in at 3 a.m. was the same beach that we played volleyball and jumped off the cliff the day before, which was kind of crazy. But anyway, Split, Croatia was definitely our favorite place of the entire trip. We met so many awesome people. And that leads us to the final place of our trip, which was Paris. We only came here because the flight back to Canada was the cheapest, but it was also pretty cool to finally see the Eiffel Tower. Honestly, there wasn't much to do in Paris than we thought. We saw a few cool things. We wrote our names down on this wall. Hopefully that wasn't illegal. We also watched this guy sing for hours to kill time in front of the Eiffel Tower. Once it was nighttime, we watched the Eiffel Tower light up and it was so pretty. Just a big piece of metal with lights on it. Pretty crazy. It was cool though, because once it hit midnight, it was actually my birthday. I turned 22 in Paris right in front of this big metal thing. I mean, that was kind of awesome, I guess. But anyways, that was my entire month break off from YouTube. I had a great first time in Europe with all of my friends, and I'm so grateful that I got to make all of those memories. I wish taking a break from YouTube was easier than it is, but it isn't. I really put myself through a ton of stress before and during the trip just to get these videos ready for you guys to watch while I was gone. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time as much as I did, and I love you guys so much. See you guys next week.